to all the SEC teams, and obviously that's going to be huge for our Tennessee Volunteers. And I'll talk about what I would like to see maybe Greg Sankey do to, give us some more money for us to play around with, and maybe not even just Sankey, but if we end up going to like a super conference, something like that, this is what I would like to see things to move more to, so that Tennessee can have kind of like the upper hand in some of these situations. And we are going to also be talking about what's the snap count's going to look like for our wide receivers and for our safeties. What are the touches or targets going to look like for our wide receivers? I know a lot of folks have been wondering what's Boo Carter going to look like playing on offense, defense, and special teams. We're going to give you a very, very realistic look at all these things. As always, y'all, please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Let me make sure that I do shout out to all the members of the channel and everyone that is donating. If you would like to help us, basically help us to grow more outside of the liking and things like that, or just watching our videos all the way through, because those things definitely help too, you can click on that join button just below this video and be a member of the channel. We have more film breakdowns and things like that we do for our members. And you can also donate as little as $1 to our Cash App. So the Cash App QR code is going to be in the top right-hand corner of this video, but our Cash App is Bluechip Breakdown. It's $Bluechip Breakdown. And the reason that we ask for, if you want to donate, the reason that we ask for that more so on Cash App is just because YouTube's going to take, like 40 or 50% of everything that y'all give to us. But if you, feel more comfortable giving that way, that also works. So shout out to everybody. Let's go ahead and get started. Actually, let me get into this chat. So David Speaks is saying that we will probably rotate our 2 deep, including Boo, probably about 6 guys. All right. What's going on with you, David? Happy to see you here. And Tommy is saying that Tom is committed to Miami officially. Yeah. So I saw that. That's a great place for him. I mean, I'm gonna tell you that right now. That is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place. I know he's sounds like he has something going on with his family where he needs more money. I have no idea what that is. Maybe he has a baby on the way. I mean, again, I have no idea. Either way, I think that going down there, that's going to be a really good look for him. It's going to be tough on our Tennessee Volunteers because, as y'all will see, we are a little bit short-handed with our safety room. But I want to start it off with what's going on with the SEC and with the Big Ten. And actually, let me highlight this first. So Tommy has joined this channel. Thank you so much for that. So Tommy is now a member of this channel. That is awesome, man. Thank you so much for that. And right here, I want to try to break down what's going on with the SEC and with the Big Ten with the revenue from 2024. So the SEC made $840 million. Okay, the Big Ten made $928 million. That's a lot more money. That basically breaks down for the SEC to $52.5 million per school. And the Big Ten is about $63 million per school. Now, I've got the different TV contracts highlighted for both of these conferences, because if you look at the SECs, we have a $3 billion contract for 10 years with ESPN or Disney. We all know that Disney owns ESPN. But look at what the Big Ten did, right? They've got a contract for $8 billion for 7 years with CBS, NBC, and Fox. That was brilliant. Like, that's what you want to do. They're going to be a lot more marketable because you're seeing them on different channels. And, some of that obviously will have to do with they've got schools from literally coast to coast. So that helps out. But that deal, I mean, it blows what the SEC has out of the water. So we're talking about for the SEC, $300 million to split up amongst 16 teams. That's about almost $19 million per school that we should be getting every single year just from the TV contract. Now, whenever you look at the Big Ten, we're talking about over $1 billion per year. Now, there's some things going on with that. I don't know. I guess they're not fully into the contract. And also, if you look at both of these conferences, they're paying for the SEC, I think that the 14 oldest schools are going to get paid the most. Texas and then Oklahoma, they're just taking like a small amount of that right now, but it's going to end up jumping up here pretty soon. But for the Big Ten, their oldest 12 programs, those are the ones that are making the bulk of this money. But it basically breaks down to about $75 million per school once everything gets kind of weighed out, balanced out, and all of that good stuff. So I'm bringing this up just to say that there obviously, number one, is a ton of money from both of these conferences. The SEC has to catch up. Part of the reason that the Big Ten may have been able to ask for more money is because, number one, like we said, they're going to multiple different channels, but also because they have more schools, like they have more teams. They have 18, the SEC has 16, and they have one more conference game. They have 9 conference games. The SEC only has 8, and people have been asking, why doesn't the SEC have non-conference games like everybody else. So I wanted to bring this up just to show you why we don't, and why it's worth so much more money, I think, for the SEC to play that extra conference game. Because I saw this article from ESPN, I can't think of the guy's name who wrote it, but either way, he was basically saying that ESPN offered the SEC $50 to $80 million more to add one more conference game. That breaks down to like $3 million to $5 million. $3 million to $5 million per school, just with that extra game. I don't think that that's enough. And the reason for it is, looking at this. This is the blue chip players on each roster. This is from 2024. This is from 24/7 Sports. And if you just go through this list, it's pretty obvious. Like, you look at the SEC, look at the Big Ten. Up at the top, you got Georgia and you got the Buckeyes, both with 69 blue chip caliber players. So they're sitting at about 81% blue chip ratio. Now, the blue chip ratio that I have here is based off of 85 scholarships. I know this schools like obviously Tennessee, we don't have 85 scholarships. Some of these other schools, they won't have up to 85 scholarships, but I wanted to do it this way just to show you how it looks. But it's funny because I think that the Buckeyes look like a way better team than Georgia did. So everyone's always trying to crown Kirby Smart. He's this great coach and blah, blah, blah. But you had a juggernaut roster again, and you got blown out. Like, you go to the playoffs and you get blown out. Who was it? They lost to Ole Miss. They lost to Alabama. Really, they should have lost to us at home. That was a must-win game for them. The whole point is, looking at this, you can tell from top to bottom, it's really not even close. It's a lot more talent concentrated in the SEC. So that extra game, that's a whole lot more stress, wear and tear. Looking at the Big Ten, what do you got there? You got really, I would say, 4 programs that so you've only got 4 over 50% blue chip ratio. And the blue chip ratio, if it's over 50%, that means that the team can win a championship. The SEC has 8. If you want to throw USC in there and say, well, they're close to 50%, well, so is Tennessee. Tennessee's closer to 50 than USC is. So you could say that there's 9 teams that are championship caliber in the SEC, versus 5 for the Big Ten. And the talent level really doesn't drop off that much here. Like, I mean, our lowest team is at 12. That's Vanderbilt. And then, if you look at the Big Ten's lowest team, it's Rutgers at 7. You know what I'm saying? So Vanderbilt would be at least the 14th most talented team last season in the Big Ten. And it is such a grind. It's every single game is a big deal. We could have, put up the stats for the decibels of going and playing at different stadiums. It's different. Now, you've got, again, the top 4 or 5 in the Big Ten. In the SEC, everywhere you go is hostile. It's a hostile game every single week. So I think that it's worth more money. I mean, I would say, listen, ESPN, if y'all want us to add this 9th game, hey, we got to get up in the ballpark with what the Big Ten is seeing, because they're blowing us out the water. And I don't know how much they're going to try to push that issue, but I don't think that, that little measly $50 to $80 million, that's not enough. Not for what we're doing. And we all know that the SEC's TV ratings are really, really high, because there are really close games. Most of them, you never know. Like, who would have thought that Vanderbilt was going to beat Alabama? Who would have thought that I think it was Kentucky that beat Ole Miss? Like, you don't think about that because it doesn't happen in too many other conferences, right? Like, the Big Ten is so much more top heavy. They only have to play really 3 games every year, and every other game is a daggum walk in the park. It's easy for those programs. So you're not going to get as many views on some of those other games because they're not going to be as close. In the SEC, every single game is close. So I want to throw that out there. I think that we could very easily get our number up somewhere around, I would call it, I think that we could maybe add another probably 400 million or so, and I'm talking about for the whole SEC per year. I think that we could probably add something like that, and that would make sense. And this is something else that I want to pull this up. So this is the top 10 programs in the country as far as the revenue that they made last season. Okay, now I got these numbers from Sportico. I've seen some different ones, like you're seeing the Tennessee right here. It's at 202 million. I've seen 234 million. I heard Danny White talk about 280 million. I don't know. I can't go through all those. I had to go through one place that has things kind of concrete, but I think that this gives you a good understanding of where Tennessee matches up versus some of these other programs. So looking at this, Tennessee being at number 8, 202 million. And you see that those Buckeyes up there at 280. I've seen their number be as low as like 254 for last season. It might be more like they were at 254 and we were at maybe 234. I've seen that number. So I don't know. The whole point here, the reason I want to show you this is just because I think that looking at how much money Tennessee made last season, looking at how much more money we're going to be making moving forward, especially adding that ninth game, which I think might come in 2026, adding that ninth game where, I'm thinking, shoot, man, every institution should be, over like a, 20 million or something more dollars. It should be something like that. That puts us in a great spot, especially if the revenue sharing thing that everyone's doing, or, that the major programs will be doing now, once this house settlement gets done. Sounds like that might be done on like Wednesday. But once that gets done, we're thinking $20.5 million. So what they said was, we're going to take 20% of every school's revenue, and that's what you're going to share with those players. But it's up to only $20.5 million. So obviously, 20% of $200 million is $40 million. So I would love for them to take the cap of that $20.5 million off. Now, it's going to hurt us some with some of these other programs, but I think it'll help us more than it's going to hurt us. We're seeing that we're a top 10 program here. This keeps us in that top 10, something that I would love for us to do. And the other part of this is, who the hell came up with that $20.5 million cap, right? Like, I know that they're doing it just to try to make sure that some of these smaller programs that aren't generating as much money, that they can stay relevant. But I think that we're kind of past that now. Like, if it's not one part of it, with the name, image, and likeness, and it's going to be this other part of it. To me, it's just like, let the teams that have it go on ahead and pay these kids right, because we don't know who set that up. At some point, someone's going to say, wait a second, why are we only making, because now Tennessee's players would only be splitting up 10% of the revenue. That's crazy. Somebody's going to sue. And I think it's going to take for somebody to step up and sue the SEC or the Big Ten, as opposed to, all of college sports. If someone does that, if someone targets them, I can almost guarantee you that they'll try to change some things and open it up where it makes more sense. But there's still, how they're doing things. There's a lot of lawsuits that will be coming, unless they just get it fixed. Like, just get it fixed right now. And then you don't have to worry about lawsuits moving forward. But until we see the players become employees, we're going to have a whole bunch of issues. College football is not going to be great, how it could be. But obviously, man, if we could split up $40 million amongst all of our sports, that keeps us as the everything school, right? Like, because you can still go out and get really good players for your baseball team, for your basketball team, softball, women's basketball, everything. You've got the money to split that up. I would say that, football makes probably about 90%, maybe 95% of all the revenue that Tennessee's bringing in. So that's where most of the funds need to go. But it's still, all the other sports are still getting plenty of money. People can be happy. And maybe you could take away some of the, like NIL stuff, which I know that that's not going to stop. But maybe you could slow it down some, because you have so much money compared to other programs where, hey, we can pay for this off of the revenue that these players have actually made. So I'm just looking at it that way. I just think that this would really benefit Tennessee in a major, major way. And, then maybe it's going to turn into more of a, I would say like even playing field with like the top programs. And that's what I wanted to move towards anyway. I think that it should just be about all the big schools, all the big programs playing our own league. It should be SEC, Big Ten. You can keep, whoever you want, everybody, and then go out and add the few other schools like a Clemson and, Florida State, like those really big programs that can add some value to the conferences. That's what we need to move towards. And there's just no need for us to be still playing up against some of these other programs that really don't have a fighting chance. So let me get to some more of these chats right here. So this right here is from Tommy, saying that the SEC screwed their TV contracts compared to the Big Ten. Yeah, I'm glad that you saw that with those numbers. David Speaks is saying that if we go to 9 games or to a 9-game conference schedule, then we have to renegotiate 100%. I just think that it needs to be more than what ESPN's throwing out there. And of course, these are business people. They're very business savvy. So ESPN understands that, hey, the SEC is worth a whole lot of money. And, we don't want for them to come to us with a new contract. Let's throw something out there to them and see if they bite on it. But I think that Greg Sankey's smart enough, and he's not going to – hopefully he's not going to let that happen. So from Tommy also saying that the SEC has to go to 9 games period plus better games. Who doesn't want that? Yeah, I'm cool with it. It's cool playing like the UT Chattanoogas and all of that, but I would much rather see some real competition. And, it is going to be tougher, though. It's going to be tougher on the SEC. I think that if we do make the move, we've got to, whoever it is voting on this stuff as far as who makes it to the college football playoffs, They need to come up with a realistic system that is going to weigh the strength of the schedules based off of the blue chip caliber players. I've said this, and David, I'm gonna get to you in just a second, but I've said this. I would like to see us maybe, once we maybe break off to those two big conferences, where it's SEC, Big Ten, whatever, East, West, however you want to split that up, or North, South, whatever. I would like to see us put something inside of the player's shoulder pads because they've got like these trackers that shows their speed and all of that. Why not just do that and also show, what's the average speed for the teams inside of the SEC versus the Big Ten? What's the average like impact? Like what's the force? Like you should be able to measure all of that stuff these days. And then you can get a very realistic look at like what team is actually better. Whose schedule is actually tougher, right? So I would like to see that. I don't know if we'll see it, but somebody needs to, I'm sure there's someone smart enough to be able to put together some type of, like AI, whatever that's possible. So David is also saying that he's saying that look, Mississippi State. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, those are way bigger brands. Yep, 100%. I mean, the SEC is just different. You know what I'm saying? It just means a lot more. He's saying that he'd go 15 billion for 5 years. Hey, I would love something like that. I don't know if they would, I don't know if they would do it, but shoot, yeah, I would. The only other problem with that is that it's just ESPN. Now we know that ESPN has some very deep pockets, and obviously they're going to make their money back off of the views and advertisements and all of that. So I don't know if it's too much of a problem there, but I just don't know if we have as much leverage as the Big Ten had whenever you're talking to 3 different really big channels. That's the only thing there. And this one right here is from Will Holder. What's up? What's going on, bro? Appreciate you for joining us. All right, so now let's start to talk a little bit about the snaps and things like that. So this is from Tennessee's wide receivers. Okay, so the players that are in white on the left, this is how their snaps looked last season. This is just the snaps on offense. Okay, and you can also see what their targets look like. To the right of that, I've got the player that I feel like is going to take over their spot from last season. So we're saying that Brew had 45 snaps last year, averaged about 5 targets per game. Now that's going to be Mike Matthews, I believe. It could also be Brazel, could also be Staley, but that's just, we'll see how that plays out. But do we think that maybe Mike Matthews could do a little bit more with the football in his hands than Brew? I think that it's possible. I do. I mean, obviously Brew coming off of the injury, I mean, you absolutely hate it for him. Now he can't play football, which is another part of the reason why I'm saying all the things that I'm saying. I feel like the players deserve to get paid, especially with football, because every snap can be your absolute last, and you just never know. And Brew gave his all for Tennessee. Just like think about, I don't know how much Brew got paid last season. We'll call it $500,000. Imagine if with the revenue sharing added, but then also if it's a real 20% instead of that $20 million cap. I mean, Brew could have made, maybe $2 or $3 million last year. And I think that he earned that. So it's little things like that. Once you really look at the start to finish of this game, from the time that these players start training and all of that at a very young age, all the way up to this point where it's make or break, and it's really tough to get to that next level. I think that they deserve to get paid, and I think that they should get paid handsomely. So either way, I think that Mike Matthews could probably do a little bit more than Brew did with his 45 snaps, with his 5 targets last season. So now we have Brazel. So I have Brazel at number 2 as well. 42 snaps. He might have more than that. 4.6 targets. He might have more than that. Now, it's going to be based off of how many times do we throw the football this season or this upcoming season. Last year, we didn't throw it nearly as much as we did in 2022. We've been taking steps back, 2023, 2024. Took some steps back. We were more run heavy, which I think that we will be again this year. But either way, Squirrel, I've got Braylon Staley taking his spot, 33 snaps, 4.3 targets. I think that Staley's going to do some really good things. I mean, looking at the top 3 here, I think that if you go, from left to, if you go from right to left, looking at the guys that are going to be the starters in those same spots this year, I think that we are upgrading. Even looking at Brazel versus Brazel's going to be better. Second year inside the Tennessee system, I expect for him to make more happen with the targets and with the snaps that he's going to take. Next, okay, for Dante Thornton's spot, I've got Travis Smith. Now, it could be Jefferson, it could be Boo, it could be Ra. We don't know. But for now, I think it's probably going to end up being Travis Smith. Just based off of what I've seen, I feel like, man, he's so ready for this moment. He's a dog. Now, he is a true freshman, very young. But I think that he can handle those 26 snaps. I think he can come in and maybe be similar to what Dante Thornton was. Maybe not necessarily as much because Dante Thornton, he had crazy speed, as we all know, 4.3 flat 40 on a laser is ridiculous at 6'5". So Travis Smith is not going to be as big or as fast as Dante was, but I think that he might be more consistent. I think that he might be, maybe not as much of a deep threat, even though I think that Dante could run the whole route tree. I just think that Travis Smith, he might be more of a, hey, solid guy, maybe more like a Cedric Tillman. I could see him maybe not playing like Cedric Tillman as a junior or, whatever, as a veteran inside of Tennessee system. But I think that he's got that sort of a ceiling where he could be a little bit better. So he's going to be one of those guys. Next, man, I've got Jefferson. So I've got him coming in, backing up Braylon Staley. But like I've said before, I feel like Tennessee's probably going to try to mix and match. Rotate guys. Don't just leave them playing a slot. Don't just leave them playing outside. Let them roam around because that puts extra stress on on those defenses. But yeah, I think that Jefferson's going to be one of our guys. I sincerely do. Coming off of the hip, I thought that he looked really good inside in Tennessee's orange and white game. And then next, okay, with 15 snaps, I have Boot Carter. So, that was Mike Matthews last season, and we know that he didn't get too many targets last year. Now, the targets part of it might look a little bit different. I don't think he's going to get too many snaps, but whenever he comes in, his targets might be up over 2. I think he gets maybe 2 to 3 targets every game. This is just a very realistic look at how the snaps and everything, the targets have to get split up. So I know a lot of folks think that Boot Carter playing at wide receiver is going to be, like he's really playing wide receiver full time. I don't think it's going to be that much. Now, I could be off on that. Could be wrong. But I just think that it's going to be more of a he comes in certain situations. We have some packages for him. He can't always get the ball every time that he comes in. We got to use him as a decoy sometimes because it's easy to key in on that. So, I think that he probably gets somewhere between, I'd say probably like right around 15 snaps per game, but just more targets. So maybe 2 to 3 targets per game. Next, I've got Ra Jackson. So, not getting very many snaps unless we want to rotate more. Now, the way that this rotation looks or looked last season, it could be totally different. It could be a situation where, man, we're going to rotate guys every single series just to get these young guys ready. I don't really see us doing that. Tennessee doesn't rotate our top 3 that much, but they've got to take a break, so they will be rotating some. But I think that Ra Jackson will definitely flash some, make some plays. Then we got Dotson, and then at the very, very bottom, I've got Trey Weary, who is a walk-on guy. And I just learned here maybe like a month ago that that's actually Fred Weary's son. I'm going to tell you just real quick. I remember going up to a Tennessee camp when Fred was actually playing on the team, and I was young, man. I probably was like 10, 11 years old, something like that. But just like looking at Fred, he's the biggest human being that I had seen in my life up to that point. And I just remember his arm. I was like, dude, his arm is bigger than my whole body. But either way, I would love for him to be able to maybe earn a scholarship. The other part of all this stuff is that Tennessee's football team should go from 85 scholarships. I think that we're on a limit at maybe 83, 82 to 105. So maybe 102 or like 103, 101, whatever. But we should have some more scholarship spots. I think that Trey Weary is going to get one of those scholarship spots just so that we have enough numbers, inside of this wideout room, right? Something else like what we're waiting on now, just as far as the house settlement goes, is the judge didn't like the language with like walk-on players losing spots. So it sounds like they're going to get grandfathered in. So that's also going to be good. I just think that Tennessee needs as much depth as we could possibly have, especially right here. So this is what I'm thinking, y'all. This is how I think things are going to end up shaping up. And I'm going to try to get to this chat and see what y'all think. Do y'all have any other thoughts on this? Let me see. Where are we at? Okay, so this right here from David Speaks. So he's saying, okay, so you're thinking Amazon, ESPN, and Hulu. Hey, that would be beautiful, man. Like get into the streaming because that would be next level. It's not a lot going on with the streaming. I think like Peacock with Notre Dame, they might have something else going on too. You know what I'm saying? Like it might be 1 or 2 other like real, true, just pretty much straight up streaming platforms. But yeah, that's a great idea. Absolutely love that. So Tommy's saying that we group way more talented. Okay, so I think we got one more talented this year, and if no better, okay, wide receivers got to go. Yes, it's a contract year 2. Same with Ellerby. I think he's the highest paid position coach. Yes. Okay, so maybe you're talking about Coach Pope with our wide receivers. Yeah. It does kind of feel like some people that are closer to the program are hinting towards he might be part of the issue. And I said that some last season. I didn't understand why Mike Matthews wasn't playing more, why he wasn't getting more targets. You're seeing that he's visibly frustrated. Why not give him more of an opportunity? So we'll see how that whole thing works out. I think that Coach Ellaby is going to end up being fine, though. I think he's going to look really, really good because David Sanders, I think he's good. A lot of the young guys that we have coming up, they're not going to get to play that much. But Sat's probably going to start at center. I think we did a good job adding those guards. So I think that Coach Ellaby is going to be fine. Whether that's for better or worse, either way, I do like what he's done with the young talent on that offensive line. So this one is from Tony. Saying that he has no problem with players getting paid, but none of them are worth millions. NIL wasn't supposed to be paid for play. So you know what? That's interesting. And I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back and show you. These are the contracts. The Big Ten signed a deal for $8 billion. $8 billion for 7 years. The SEC signed one for $3 billion for 10 years. Okay. You're seeing $300 million. Okay, per year for the SEC, about $18 million just from the TV contract per team. Looking at what the Big Ten has, okay, they're going to be making $1 billion per year. $1 billion. And each school is going to be splitting up $75 million. If the school's making that much money, I think that the players are damn sure worth millions. Like, they're the ones doing all the work. Like, they're the ones, especially talking about all sports, but especially football, when you're putting your life on the line every single play. You're really risking injury, brain injury, whatever, soft tissue, all of that. Like, you're risking tremendous injuries. So I would have to disagree with that. I disagree to say that they're not worth millions. If those players weren't playing, these schools and institutions wouldn't have any TV contracts that are worth billions of dollars. That's just how that goes. And now you can see what Tennessee made. Again, this is based off of Sportico last season. $202 million. I would have to disagree. I think the players are definitely worth millions of dollars because this is $1 billion industry. So let's keep this thing moving. I'm gonna get to some more of these chats. I'm gonna get to some more right here. All right, so this one is from Tommy saying that or asking why do we keep losing so many safeties? Does Martinez need to go? Never been a fan of him anyways. So our safeties coach is actually Coach Banks. Or at least technically he's supposed to be our safeties coach. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't think that we're putting a high enough value on safeties. I think that we should try to allocate more funds to safety. It's a critical position on any team. And also saying that the defensive coordinator know what we're doing. We run the same 3 plays, run up the middle, wide receiver screen, then third and long is so predictable. Yeah, I think that because of our option routes, and that's something that we did a film breakdown just talking about Tennessee's offense, like our passing game. I think that because of the way that our option routes work, it's easy to force us into doing what the defense wants, and that's why it was important that we add some wrinkles to what we're doing. I don't think that we could always just do straight up option routes, and if we're doing it, we got to add some different routes to the combinations. So yeah, I do think that a big part of the reason that the passing game wasn't as strong or as good since 2023 is because teams are sitting on what we like to do. They're forcing us to play into their hand. So it could step forward, even though we're losing some talent. I think that it could step forward just because the scheme is such a huge deal. So this right here, what's going on, bro? Saying that it would be really cool if one of our young receivers turned out to be a freshman phenom. I think that we've got a few guys that can do that. I'm going to get to these right here. Also saying that Travis Smith is that freshman phenom. I think that he could be. And that I think that we miss Golish, still iffy on Halsey. I am too. I think that that's very, very true. And this right here is from Tony saying that I know that they are going to get millions, but would you agree it's pay for play and not what NIL was supposed to be? Yeah. So, I mean, definitely. I think that it's always going to be pay for play. And, really with the whole NIL thing, I think that they knew that. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly speaking, I think that they knew that that's what it was going to end up turning into. I don't really have a problem with the pay for play. I personally, I don't. Because again, that's what that's what it is on every single level. I think that my biggest issue is about the transfer portal. And it's about having very non-binding contracts. You know what I'm saying? Like, whenever you can't, I guess, hold the players to your team, after you've already paid them, which in some cases, I can tell you, like schools have had to, basically buy players out of contracts that wanted to flip from one school to the other one. I can tell you that for a fact. So, yeah, I mean, that's, they need to get things fixed and, figured out where it's going to make more sense. Now, the reason that it's so crazy is for whatever reason, they do not want to employ these players. So once they do that, then everything gets clean. And maybe there's some business lawyers out there or, some type of a lawyer that can explain to me why they are so against doing the right thing in this situation. Because for me, I don't see any real negatives to it. I honestly don't. I don't see too many negatives. I can't personally, I can't think of any. So that's what the real issue is. It's just that we've got, you know what, I guess maybe the only negative is they feel like, well, the players are going to be able to take more money. That's probably what the real issue is. And some of these big wigs that are sitting up at the top that are making millions and millions of dollars, they don't want to share that. So they don't want to take it from, hey, like a Greg Sankey. I don't know what he's making. It's probably like 1 point something million dollars. He's making that much money. I don't want to bump that down to $750,000. I don't want to share this money. That's what the real issue, I think, actually is. So once that gets fixed, this will be a lot better for us as fans and for the players, for the people that deserve for it to be right. I'm not saying that I want everyone to get paid, but everything needs to be relative. You know what I'm saying? And I find it funny that guys like Nick Saban, who made $11 million his last season coaching, is going to come out and try to be the voice of any damn thing with players not getting paid. Like I just tune him out. Like anybody who does that, you can't be making a bunch of money and say, no, you can't make this same type of money. Hell no. That's a big problem. And I just think that would be a disaster if he does that. So hopefully we can find somebody. I'll actually tell you this here real quick, and then we're going to move on to safeties. I would, and I know he hasn't been coaching for a very, very long time, but man, I would go and get a daggum Jimmy Johnson. Why? Because he won championships in college and in the NFL. Okay, there's only like a handful of coaches who's done it. I think Pete Carroll, he's another one. Barry Switzer, he got his championships pretty much following following after Jimmy Johnson. But either way, I would get him because I think that he gets it, right? Like he understands football. I know that he might not want to do it, but somebody like that's a little bit more open-minded and is going to let the market be more free, but is going to try to clean it up where it's still fair. That's who I would be voting for. All right, so let's move on. All right, so these are the safeties here, y'all. All right, so y'all can see that Will Brooks last season had 45 snaps. I think that Andre Turrentine obviously is going to be taking his spot. Outside of that, it's nothing but underclassmen. It's all freshmen, whether it's redshirt freshmen with the second two, or it's with the second three, or with the next three, or it's going to be true freshmen. So I think that Caleb Beasley is going to be number 2. That's just for me personally. I think that he might be. I think that his coverage. I think that just from top to bottom as a total player, I think that he is better. All right, and then we've got Idris Farouk, who he could be number 2, but I mean probably number 3. I don't know. We'll see how everything plays out. But I like those top 3. Then you get into Marcus Gorey. I just threw Marcus Gorey over here just because I was like, man, we really don't have too many. Like Marcus Gorey hasn't been playing safety, not that I know of. I think he's been playing at corner and maybe some at star. Okay, so could we bring him back over to safety? I think he might be maybe our best option at this point, unless you want to go with the Sidney Walton, who I think looks good physically. Haven't seen him moving around and doing too much stuff. But then you've also got Merritt. Merritt's a guy that he's been playing corner. So, excuse me, I don't know what the real reason for that is. Maybe he came in a little bit too light. Maybe that's why they want him playing corner. I think that he could play safety. He's got to gain some weight. Can he do that over this offseason? For sure. But we're really talking about that top 4, okay? We need for the top 4 to be able to rotate. We need 4 guys that we can absolutely trust. I see 3 here. I see 3. Obviously, 1, Andre Turrentine, that I definitely trust. Caleb Beasley, I mean, those next 2, I think that they can get there. I don't know how it's going to look to start the season off, though. You know what I'm saying? I just being real. Marcus Gorey, like we said, hasn't really played it. So at safety, we're in a really, really tight spot, like really, really tight. So I don't know, man. I really would have thought that Tennessee would have tried to go out to the portal and spend whatever it took to get one more veteran safety. But, I guess they said, hey, it's just not worth us, maybe mortgaging away our future and maybe having some more guys transferring out. But we know that right now in May, heading towards these summer months, The coaches are out there going to spring practices and all of that, putting out some more offers, making sure that, players that we've started to talk to, making sure that, we can get them over that hump. We got the 865 Live coming up at the end of this month. So we need to get a lot of the players from the 2026 class up. But I'm looking specifically at safety. We got to close out on, I would say, two guys. If we can close out on two really good safeties, I'm going to feel better about the future of this program, because we'll still have a few more players that can kind of carry things over until those younger guys start to get ready. But we can't have this room dwindling down to what it's dwindled down to. I think it's going to be really tough for sure. But the one saving grace is that in some previous seasons we really only played two safeties, maybe three. You know what I'm saying? So it might be another one of those years. This guy just had to stay healthy. All right, let me come back up and let me get to some more of these chats. So this right here is from Will Holder, and he's saying that wish that there was a way that there could be a salary cap per position with bonuses for starting players, big playmakers, etc. Yeah, so see, like things like that, I don't absolutely hate that. But it needs to be a situation where the players have some real representation and they can sit down with whoever, whether it's Greg Sankey and, his whole bunch or whoever, sit down at a table and talk some realistic numbers, and they need to come together and everyone has to sign off on it. Now, see, at that point, you don't have to worry about all these lawsuits and all of that type of stuff. But yeah, I would love to see some form of a salary cap or something, just to even things out, maybe not even things out, but just so it's not as crazy, because right now things are just crazy. And Tommy's saying that he's seen Notre Dame got Walton, the big running back. We were okay. Oh, dang, man. Jonas Walton, man. So see, Notre Dame is really doing a lot now. They lost several players inside of the transfer portal. Obviously, we got Pendleton from Notre Dame. They lost a few other really good offensive linemen too. But, I guess maybe they've just got some extra money kind of laying around and all that. But maybe they're doing what it feels like Tennessee might be doing. And they're like, look, we're going to spend the bulk of this money on the high school players. And if that means that, hey, we're going to miss on a guy from the transfer portal, which, again, I disagree doing that at safety because we really, really needed one. But that's the way that they see it, seems like. So, hey, we're going to look towards our future and make sure that we can build that roster up and that we can hold on to those players more. Maybe that's what the case is. And now Notre Dame's got some extra funds. And yeah, that one stings. So it means that we really have to close out on the kid hitter or hider. We got to close out on him for sure. All right. Good thought on Jimmy Johnson. Okay, cool. I'm happy that you think that. All right. Thank you for that. Should only be one transfer portal window for sure, and should stop multiple transfers. Taliban transfers 3 times. Yeah, so I think that is one of the biggest. To me, that is the biggest issue. It's about that transfer portal. Once that gets slowed down, things will look a lot better, whole lot better. Saban and strategy. I can't stand Nick Saban. And then that's something else too. I'm curious for Tennessee fans that are calling for Saban to be like the face of college football. And I mean, some of us might be newer Tennessee fans, or maybe not us, because I've been a Tennessee fan for a long time. But I know, right, that Alabama, I mean, listen, like they've been caught cheating more than every other program combined. Okay, like I don't know if that's true, but it sounds like it's true, right? And I would not be shocked if that was true. I mean, they are the cheatingest program that I could think of. They've been cheating like since the beginning of sports or college sports. Since that school opened up, they've been cheaters. We all know that Nick Saban cheated. Okay, everyone knows that, and now he wants to get up on this high horse and just act like, hey, I can come in and fix things as a Bama guy. Hell no, I wouldn't. You know that they're going to hurt Tennessee. Like he's got too much Bama in what he was there for how many years? 15, 20 years or something. He was there for a long time. He's not going to try to help Tennessee out. He's going to help out Alabama. That's just how they roll. Because now, see, they've gotten better at cheating. It's not that they stopped. They just got better at not getting caught. But I think that they cheating in every single sport, So, no, I would not vote for any Alabama person, for any person that, has something to do with the University of Alabama to be the head of anything. Football, basketball, baseball, badminton, wall ball. I don't care what it is. I would not vote for them. So, and I don't understand Tennessee fans that would even ask for that. All right, so let me get to some more of these. We're going to try to finish up with some more of these chats. All right, so this right here is from Tom saying that we lost 2 safeties last cycle. And that went to the one that went to Florida really hurt. Yeah, so you might be talking about Shady. Yeah, that one really hurt bad because we could have obviously used him on this team, especially in this situation. Um, yeah, they're loading up. And then we can't let Vandy beat us out on the in-state 5-star. Yeah, so I think you're talking about Joel Wyatt. Yeah, that would be bad. That would definitely be bad. All right, so this right here is saying that Saban is mad because he couldn't monopolize the recruiting scene anymore. That's 100% what it is, right? Like he stopped it because he knew, oh, wait a second, everybody else can start to pay folks now and it's actually legal. So, like, we were getting by because we knew how to circumvent these rules and everything. And now that everyone can do it legally, nah, I don't think I want any parts of this. Now, I will also tell you this because I do work pretty closely with players and all of that and parents. And I mean, it is a different mindset. I don't think it's so much from the players, but really from their parents. They sometimes can be a trip. I'm going to tell you that. So it's more difficult to deal with it from that aspect. So I could understand if he didn't want to deal with that, but that's not what he said. He said basically like, these players are getting paid. I don't want no parts of this, boss. You know what I'm saying? Get me on up out of here. It's too much of an even playing field. And I disagree with everything that he's up to. You know what I'm saying? Now, look, I think that Saban is obviously a great coach. I think he's the best college coach ever. But that doesn't mean that he needs to be in charge of certain things. So I'll just pull this back up here really, really quickly. This is just how many players we're going to have in each class this year. And if they're, if they're like a redshirt sophomore, then I've got them up under sophomore. And then you can see the needs that Tennessee is going to have for the 2026 class. And right here, you're seeing that wide receiver. For me, I think that's the biggest need for us on offense. So I think we're doing a pretty good job just to start it off. But then you come on over here to defense. I've got 2 safeties, and I think that's the most pressing need because we've done a good job finding corners. You're seeing 2 to 3 there. I think, maybe tackle too. I think we can maybe in this previous class, I think we did a very, very good job of adding some great tackle depth and talent. But we got to keep on doing that. You can never have too many tackles. But for me, the main thing that I'm looking at, like I said, is how do we do with these safeties? We got to close out there. And, I would love to see us add 2, maybe even 3. I mean, go out and get more than what you think you actually need. And go out and get 3 really, really good ones too. You know what I'm saying? Like, go out and get some guys that can freaking ball. Not saying that we don't already have that, but why not add more? That's where I'm at, and I'm hoping that Tennessee does it. I'm starting to feel a little bit better about our season because as we've gone through and looked at the upcoming schedule, it's not really that difficult. I think that some of the cusp games that we have, so talking about Georgia, talking about Arkansas and Oklahoma, we get to host those teams. Neyland and Vol Nation is going to help us to win those games. I think that the youth at wide receiver is going to show up in a major way because they're really, really good athletes. Also think that they are, mentally in a different space, right? Like I think that I just think that we got dogs inside of that room. They might be young, but I think that they are some real true dogs. And I'm starting to feel like Joey Aguilar is going to get the start. Now, I think he's supposed to be up on campus next week. Listen, y'all, I mean, been watching so much film on him. He's going to have to get more consistent with a lot of his fundamentals. But that's what, man, I'm telling you, our coaches do a great job with that. I know some people don't think that, our coaches might not be the best with quarterbacks. I disagree. Like the way that they teach fundamentals is really, really good. I think that the fundamentals with our quarterbacks have been excellent. I think that Joey Aguilar could really take a big step forward, getting on campus, getting with Coach Halsley, obviously getting with Coach Heupel, learning our system, getting with the players, and just because I think he's got a little bit of that, I think his personality being more of a baller, more of a gunslinger. I think that fits with those wide receivers. I just think that they want the opportunities. I think that they're the type that, this was a terribly thrown football, but I'm about to go make this play. Like, watch me ball. I think that that's what we're looking at. I'm starting to feel that more. Okay, the offensive line is going to be better too. The running game is going to be there for sure. We got a stable running backs. We got a great offensive line. I think that we're going to be fine. Maybe I'm talking myself into it. I'm starting to feel like we are going to be fine. So we just got to try to get through this season. And even if it's not Joey starting, I don't care who it is. If, one of the other guys is able to beat out Joey, then that just means that that's the best person for the job. But I would love for everyone to get plenty of reps and let's, build off of this season. I think that, maybe, again, maybe we have a shot, but if we can continue to build that depth, keep the players happy moving forward, get some more money, get some more funds and all of that good stuff, I think that Tennessee is going to be fine, but we got to find some more safeties. All right. So I'm going to get to some more of these chats real quick, and then I'm gonna go on ahead and wrap this thing up. So from all of all's talk shows going on, saying it. Okay, honest. Does Joey start? Wow, that's crazy. I didn't even see that you put that up there. So you're asking, and I don't know if you said that after I was just went on that little rant, but you're asking, does Joey start? Saying that I think that he gets the nod, and if we have a really bad season, and so does the Sooners. Does Oklahoma give Josh an offer he can't refuse? Man, you know what? I think that that's a really, really good question. And I've touched on this before. People didn't like it. I think, honestly speaking, I think that if Oklahoma has an opening, I don't know. I feel like Josh is going to entertain it. I do. I think the coach Heupel might entertain it because they have so much talent. Like we could go back to the blue chip ratio. Okay. We'll go back to this to the blue chip ratios, and y'all can see right here. So Oklahoma actually last season, this is again based off of 24/7 Sports, they had 57 blue chip players. Tennessee only had 41. Now you got to love the simple fact that we've got a staff that's doing a lot more with less. We had the number 9 roster basically in the SEC, but we were one of the top 3 teams, you know, whenever everything was all said and done. So yeah, I mean, for some reason it feels like Oklahoma does maybe a little bit better job of getting talent, which is weird because I mean, it must be because of Texas. I don't know. You would think that Tennessee being in the Southeast, where there's plenty of talent, that we should be able to get higher than that, and we will be for 2025. But yeah, I think that's a possibility for sure. So, and also, let me also say this: I think that Oklahoma's got a better roster this year than they had last season. I think that it's significantly better. So they're going to be good. That's going to be tough. So Riley Helton is asking, why do I? Oh, I'm sorry. Who do I expect to land in the near future? So I did see that Austin Price put something out there that basically he's thinking that we're about to land somebody. I have no idea who. I don't know who he's talking about. I have no idea. It hasn't been very much information floating around out there. It's been pretty quiet, but I think it's about to start to pick up just because we're heading into the crunch time now, and it's not too much other things going on. Like we've got the house settlement stuff coming out. That's coming out next week. So you know, we'll get a good dose of that. But outside of that, I think that we'll hear a lot more about these players and all of that. So I have absolutely no idea who might be coming next. And then let's get to this right here from Tommy. All right, man, listen, Faison, yeah, that'd be huge if he could flip keys, because I think that they're probably still close, but that would be huge. And then Leo and Brandon Rouse. Yeah, so Leo, he's set to announce July 11th, I think. So yeah. And then Braden Rouse, yeah, I could see Braden Rouse might be the guy. I've heard a lot going on there. And I feel like there was another linebacker too. Maybe it was just Rouse, but either way, yeah, I think that you know, David, you could be on to something there. But either way, y'all, that's gonna be it. I hope that y'all have a great rest of y'all's Thursday. Let me get to this one too from Riley. Okay, so you're saying, okay, Zay Anderson, hey, listen, I would be happy with that for sure. I mean, I think that we are going to end up finishing strong with this class. But either way, I hope that y'all have a great rest of y'all's Thursday. And as always, y'all, please do make sure to like and subscribe to the channel on your way out. And we'll see y'all on the next one. Thanks. Peace.